17th regular business meeting of the Pasadena Area Community College District will now come to order.
Fellow.
Here.
Mr. Osterling. Ms. Brown. Mr. Hilsman.
Here.
Mr. Martin.
Here.
Ms. Waugh.
Here.
Ms. Groupian.
We have need for a closed session. Are there any public comments on the closed session item from the public? Hearing none, we will now move to closed session. We will return to open session at approximately 7 p.m. Day, April 5th, 2017, regular business meeting of the Pasadena Area Community College District in joint meeting with the associated students will now come to order. We have completed a closed session and there is no reportable action. Ms. Thompson, roll call please.
Dr. Selvage.
Here.
Dr. Fellow.
Here.
Mr. Osterling.
Here.
Ms. Brown. Mr. Hilsman.
Here.
Mr. Martin.
Here.
Ms. Waugh.
Here.
Ms. Groupian.
Here.
Ms. Gerbian, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Of course. Please stand for the flag salute. Ready? And I pledge Thank you.
Item number C3, approval reordering of agenda items. Does any trustee wish to reorder or change any agenda item? If not, do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Advisory vote?
Aye.
Trustees? Passes 6-0 with Trustee Brown absent. President Verdian, introductions and recognitions.
At this point, we have no introductions or recognitions, but later on in the meeting, the student trustees who are present, the student delegates who are present today will be introducing themselves and will be sharing with us what they are doing in AES government.
Thank you. It's now time for public comment on non-agenda items. So any member of the public who is present who would like to make a comment on items not on the agenda can do so. Mr. Clerk, do we have any?
We have two speaker cards for non-agenda items, and the first speaker card is Martin Enriquez. And you will have 3 minutes. You'll be on the clock, and I'll give you a 30-second warning.
Thank you. Honorable trustees and assembled persons, good evening. I submit for as submissions the AAA Los Angeles San Gabriel Valley, AAA Los Angeles San Fernando Valley, Pasadena Weekly, the issue of February 26, 2015. I've spoken over and over again about the importance of the Civil Rights Act of 1965. I think it's good to remember other milestones. Another milestone was 2006 when it was re-extended. And in that extension, it's called the Fannie Lou Hamer, Rosa Parks, Coretta Scott King, Cesar E. Chavez, Barbara C. Jordan, William C. Velasquez, and Dr. Henry P. Garcia Voting Rights Act, Reauthorization and Amendments Act of 2006. We just celebrated an individual, a peaceful man. And because of that peaceful man, I too boycotted grapes, as delicious as I think they are. Sometimes we have to aim at the more beautiful. In 2012, the agent that did the redistricting for Pasadena City College said under current strictures, it wasn't able to build a majority-minority trusteeship. I, however, proved that wrong in correspondence to you in February. And it's nearly 65% by total population in a supermajority by voting age population. I've said in that letter that I'm not an absolutist or a literalist, and that I welcome your input, because I am going to go now, move forward, because I think an influence seat can be created out of East Arroyo, West Altadena,
30 seconds.
and portions of central, all the areas periphery to the district that I have now given to you. And I hope you consider that, and I need your input to moving forward, and I think I can address many of the things that were on the priorities of 2012. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Enriquez. Our next speaker is, for non-agenda item, is Eduardo Cairo. And again, you'll have 3 minutes, and I'll give you a 30-second warning.
Thank you. Good evening, Board. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Eduardo Cairo. I teach history in the Social Science Department for the Social Science Division. I also been past Academic Senate President for 2 years. I come here to provide you 2 issues that are of grave concern to me and my colleagues. Some of you may remember that I came to you, as well as faculty, years ago to inform you of problems that the past president, Mark Rocha, was committing to this college. Unfortunately, some of the information we provided you fell on deaf ears and ultimately resulted in the college being placed on probation, the Board of Trustees paying Mark Rocha over $400,000 to convince him to retire, as well as other damage. I'm here to tell you that unfortunately, we have new problems on this campus. Problems that might result in the goodwill that the college has recently purchased by offering this Pasadena Promise, a very good thing for the students of our district. But if these problems continue on this campus, we might lose that goodwill that we bind with this promise. The 2 issues that I have is regarding, one is Dr. Rajan Verdian, and the other regarding Dr. Lisa Norman. Let me begin with Dr. Lisa Norman. I serve currently on 3 hiring committees. All 3 hiring committees are having difficulties, are having issues arising from Dr. Norman's direction. I have asked her 4 times now to provide me with specific information which she has refused to provide me with. 4 times now. And rather than answer my questions, she provides answers to questions that I did not ask. Earlier this week, I met with Dr. Verdian, informing him of this matter. He stated that he would speak to her and direct her to answer my questions. She still has not done so, either as a result of being insubordinate to President Verdian, or perhaps as a result of Dr. Verdian not having informed her yet. She also seems to have taken a dislike towards faculty that email her and sign off as doctor, and she responds by saying Miss. In the past 5 days, 2 of the hiring committees needed her assistance for issues that arose during these hiring committees. And in both instances, Thursday afternoon, Tuesday morning, she was off campus. That causes concern. In regard to Dr. Verdeen, when he entered office, I took this man to be a man of his word. But unfortunately, due to the actions of this week, I no longer trust him, I no longer have confidence in him, and I no longer will be in a meeting alone with him. Because what he says and what he does are two different things. And
30
I
seconds.
deeply regret this. When I came to you years ago to inform you of this, all the information I provided you about Dr. Rocha turned out to be true. You are the Board of Trustees. You have the power to investigate these matters. If you let things get worse, the college might possibly get sued due to the issues occurring in human resources, and we might lose the goodwill. I ask that you do not allow the tail to wag the dog this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cairo.
There no further comment, trustee?
No further public comment.
Thank you. Approval of minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I thought we did
Advise-
that already. I thought we approved the minutes already. No, pardon me, never mind, go on.
No, that was
Carry
the
on.
agenda. That was the agenda.
My apology.
Advisory vote,
Aye.
trustees? Motion to approve passes 6-0 with trustee Brown absent. Consent items. D2, approve, let's see. Oh, with respect to the consent items, are there any items that trustees would like taken out of the consent calendar and discussed individually? This is consent items, section D, students.
Motion to approve consent item.
Second.
Advisory vote,
Aye.
trustees? Okay. Approved, 6-0 with the advisory vote, yes. Trustee Brown absent. Consent, item E, consent items relating to instruction. Do any trustees want to take any of these items off the consent calendar to discuss individually? Hearing not, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Advisory vote,
Aye.
trustees? Approved 6-0 with advisory vote voting yes, trustee Brown absent. Consent items F, business. Do any trustees want to take any of these items off the consent calendar to discuss individually? Hearing,
Motion to approve.
do I hear a second?
Second.
Advisory vote,
Aye.
trustees? Motion passes 6-0, student trustee voting yes, trustee Brown absent. Consent items G, personnel. Do any trustees want to take any of these items off the consent calendar to discuss individually?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Advisory vote?
I don't think there is.
Oh, excuse me, advisory vote is not on personnel items. Trustees? Passes 6-0 with trustee Brown absent. Item H. Joint meeting with Associated Students Board. 1, introductions and overview of Associated Students activity. President of the Associated Students, please introduce the fellow officers and make your initial comments, please.
Absolutely. So I would first like to say thank you for having us this evening. I'm going to start over here. You all know me, obviously. I'm Julia, the president of Associated Students. And I'll start over here with Natalie Batista. She is our vice president for sustainability on our campus here. That's Natalie. And then this is Norman over here, our vice president for campus activities. Over here we have Dean Warzikowski. He is our vice president for external affairs. So he deals with our legislative policy outside of campus. We have Kelly Bonnier, which I'm sure a lot of you recognize. She was our vice president. She's
There's a
now our
familiar
vice
face.
president for academic affairs, but she was our student trustee, as you know. Our vice president for cultural diversity is Kylie Lamb. And then here we have our chief justice of our Supreme Council, because we have one of those, Gohar Tamizian. And then Sam Solomon here is our Vice President for Public Relations. We have Alexis Rivera here, who is our Executive Vice President, and he deals with 60-plus clubs here on campus, our Inter-Club Council. Farther over here, we have our Vice President for Student Services, Phoebe Fang. And then lastly, over here, we have Jasmine Dillon. He is our Vice President for Finances and Business Services. So that is our entire board, and I'd like to give them an opportunity to introduce just a few of us, a little bit about what they do in their position and what they've been experiencing over the past year in AS. So we'll start here with Kylie Lamb, who again is our Vice President for Cultural Diversity.
Hello. Good evening to the board and Dr. Verdian. My name is Kylie Lamb. I am Vice President for Cultural Diversity. And with my position, with diversity, you deal more with just race and ethnicity. It also includes gender, sexuality, religion, socioeconomic status, and much more. My goals this year were to educate, celebrate, and also get my position more involved on an administrative level. So for example, in collaboration with the Cross Cultural Center, Clave and Puente, we held our Dia de los Muertos event. And there it was a chance for students to be interactive with each other, learn about the culture, not just through the activities that we had, but also by engaging in conversation with their peers. And then another thing that I am trying to get the ball rolling on right now is the Cross-Cultural Council, which will consist of all the presidents or the board members of the cultural clubs on campus. And for this council, they'll be able to promote a sense of a unity and collaboration, get to know each other, as well as making sure that the students of color on campus have a bigger voice. Thank you.
So that was Kylie Lamb, and then we'll move it on to Phoebe Fang over here, so our Vice President for Student Services.
Good evening to the board and President Meridian. I'm Phoebe Fang, and I am the Vice President for Student Services. For me, I explored different ideas in putting forth events for the students here on campus. I also focused my time in providing help for the community around here in Pasadena City College, as well as off-site campuses. So throughout my term, I collaborated with my committee as well as my executive board in creating an event called Holiday Angels. And this event brings hope to families in need during the holiday season. And these these children that come from these families, they usually range from a young age to about 16 or 17 years old. And we basically put forth this event so that the families could have a great time with their children. And we have other help from the Office of Student Life, and they bring out presents, and we wrap them up, and we basically send it to their families, and they have a great time. And another event that I worked on is Relaxation Week, which this event happens during midterms or finals week, and we basically provide school supplies, nutritious snacks, and drinks to the campus. And this will help the students have a better transition into their finals week and get on task with everything that they need to finish. So I'm also going to be having an midterms relaxation week at the Rosemead site next week from Monday to Wednesday. So that's something that my board and I are looking forward to. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Phoebe. And then we also have Alexis over here, our Executive Vice President.
Good evening, board and President Verdeen. I am Alexis Rivera, and I'm the Executive Vice President of Associated Students. I oversee all the on-campus clubs on campus and chair ICC, which is mainly made up of 65 club student reps, for the focus on improving communication between all clubs, the AS Executive Board, and the campus itself. This year, I focused on transitioning all the club registration and funding allocation processes to a more efficient and paperless system. I did so with an online platform called Lancerlife. It helps clubs advertise their events, post articles, and improve student involvement. Additionally, we just finished allocating funding for all the campus clubs with Jasmine Dillon, our Vice President of Business Affairs. And we allocated around $41,000 to clubs in about 15 hours in 2 days. And lastly, before I finish my term, I'm working with our Chief Justice Gohar to improve and maintain structure to all individual club constitutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexis. And then last but not least, we have Dean Warzikowski over here.
Good evening. I'm Dean Warzikowski. I'm the Vice President for External Affairs, and what that means is I handle off-campus political relations for the student government. The most important way I do this is through the Student Lobby Committee, and what we do as a Student Lobby Committee is we research legislation that affects Pasadena City College students, and then we travel to legislative offices to speak with legislators about these issues. For example, later this month in April, we will be traveling to Washington, D.C. with a group of about 11 students to talk about various issues that affect us. For example, the Bridge Act, which is a bipartisan piece of legislation that would institutionalize a lot of protections for our undocumented population on campus. In addition to the Student Lobby Committee, we also believe it's important to engage and educate students on campus in the larger political and governmental processes that affect their lives. Some of the ways we do this are some events we had in the fall, such as the Proposition Forum. The Proposition Forum was a collaborative event between us and the League of Women's Voters, where they came and had a Proposition Forum on campus to educate us about all of the ballot measures on the LA County ballots that we would be voting on as students. In addition to the Proposition Forum, we also had a debate watching party. So during the presidential debates, we were able to sit up in the Wi-Fi lounge, we had food, we had drinks, and a lot of decorations, and students were able to watch the presidential debates together in a fun and educational setting as students.
Great. Awesome. Thank
Mr.
you.
Warzikowski, I think you can rest assured that you can take that trip to Washington, D.C., because I believe we just approved the funding
Yes.
on the consent calendar.
Thank you for that.
I do see that, thank you.
That's a done deal.
Great, thank you, Dean. And again, I just wanted to reiterate much thanks for having us here tonight. And I'm sure at the end we'll get to introduce ourselves more in detail. And additionally, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about what our priorities are as a board moving forward and what they've been over the past year. Of course, college affordability is the biggest role that we're playing right now, the biggest campaign that we have as students. Transportation has been something that we've been championing, particularly with Metro or Foothill Transit, making sure that it is affordable for our students, as well as open educational resources. I've talked to many of you personally about this and how textbook costs are affecting students right now every single day. So that's something that we've been working very closely with deans on campuses, faculty on campus to see get pushed. Promoting diversity on campus has been such a big issue for us, especially during these times. We want to make sure that we provide a safe haven for undocumented students, for students that feel persecuted against. That's one of our biggest priorities. And then as well as the resolution that we passed, again, we are thankful to see that the Board of Trustees just passed a resolution and that we also had the Academic Senate pass a resolution as well. Standing in solidarity with our campus is very valuable and important to us. And then lastly, building strong relationships has been so vital. We know that there has been campus climate issues in the past, and the relationship between AS and the Board of Trustees hasn't always been the most positive, and we think that we've been taking great strides to improve it, and I think that we've been in such great connections and relationships now. So we really appreciate that. We appreciate that the Board of Trustees are willing to just extend their welcome to us and to communicate directly with us. And then lastly, just building relationships with our community. We, again, are a community college at last, and so we want to stand with our community and be a student body, not just for students here, but across Pasadena and our district. So with that, I would like to say thank you for having us, and that will be all from us. And I will let you know that we will excuse a few students, so if you see them wandering, they're going to class, because we are students after all. So thank you.
Well, this being a joint meeting, it's an opportunity for trustees to ask questions.
Yeah,
I see
absolutely.
the light lights all coming on now. I think Trustee Wah, you had the first
Absolutely.
light.
Well, this is definitely one of my favorite meetings. I always really enjoy the interaction with the students. And I have to say that every year I am always just really impressed by the leadership of our students. And you guys have done a great job. I've always enjoyed working with you and have kept connections with other former AS officers, PCCAS officers who have gone on to their 4 years and continued their leadership roles in policymaking and their own student governance at their colleges. And so it's nice to see that line of leadership. So, You mentioned the priorities you have, and of course, the affordability for the students, the transportation, the books. And I know that there's been a lot of talk about the food and housing insecurities. So what do you think that we as a board can do to help you and work with you closer to achieve those priorities? And then the second question I had, so I'm glad that Phoebe brought up the issue, the event that you're going to have in Rosemead. And so how have you been able to integrate your Rosemead campus students in the interaction with the main campus?
Right, of course. Thank you. So, of course, as I mentioned with our priorities, I think the biggest role the Board of Trustees can play is, making sure that there's an effort to communicate with us. Oftentimes it seems as if we're completely disconnected from the Board of Trustees, and we really want to make sure that that's not the case. I've had the opportunity, as Nune, to meet individually with trustees, to meet with Dr. Verdian, and I think continuing that pattern so that direct student voice and input is always heard, and that there isn't a he said, she said from, through other faculty or administration. So just keeping the communication lines direct, and also ensuring that we are able to have a comfortable interaction with the Board of Trustees. I think that's very vital and important. And then in terms of Rosemead, it is definitely, that's something a concern with our other campuses as well as CEC. So we've extended opportunities such as we have our midterm relaxation week, as Phoebe mentioned, where we give out free things, we give out pizza, and we're actually going to be having a meeting at Rosemead as well as the CEC campus, where we can also open up a discussion or forum based for students to come in, interact with us, give more feedback in terms of what they're experiencing on their campuses. Thank you.
Trustee Osterling.
I'm going to echo everything that Trustee Wass said, and in the interest of being brief, I won't repeat any of it, or I'll try not to. But this, too, is my favorite meeting because, to me, it's a reminder, really, of why we're here, and that's to ensure student success. So we really enjoy having the students attend, and we enjoy hearing from you. And at this formal meeting, but I will also say at any other meeting that we have, please feel free to come and fill out one of these yellow speaker
He's
cards
the clerk.
and let us know what's going on with the students so we can stay informed above and beyond what Trustee Garipian will report to us. And then lastly, I've had the pleasure of working directly with a few of the students here, not all of you unfortunately, when we've made trips to visit our legislators and lobby Washington and Sacramento, so Nune and Julia and Kelly and Dean. And our elected officials, they do not want to hear from these old windbags up here. They want to hear from the students, and we have the students present the issues, and they do an outstanding job. So we really appreciate your efforts to assist us in trying to get the measures passed at the state level and at Washington that are so important to the school and to the students. So thank you for all your service.
Thank you as well.
Trustee Hilsman.
Well, as an old windbag myself, I want to say how much I appreciate all the work that you do. And I know it's so hard when you have all your obligations as students and to family and all the other things that you're doing, that you participate in this way. And it's inspiring to me because I think it's a great model for you in your lives, that you participate in the communities that you're in, and you develop your leadership skills. So that's great. The other thing I wanted to do is to say that I believe, by and large, the board shares the priorities that you've talked about. College affordability is so important to us, as is diversity, as is a safe campus. So we were inspired by your resolution and by the Academic Senate resolution to provide a safe campus, and we really mean it. The other thing is, I don't know the process for this, but our doors are really open, and we've so appreciated hearing from you, and the time we've spent together has been very enlightening for all of us. So it really is, President Russo talking about the open communication is so important and vital, and it's really more important to us probably than it is to you. So, thanks.
Thank you.
Student trustee Grippian.
So Trustee Russo spent time talking about every other member, but I do want to take a moment to kind of thank her for all she has done for the associated students. You know, when we first came into our positions, we were all kind of lost, and I want to say that she really helped us as a previous associate student member, and she still, to this day, you know, we always turn to her if we have any questions. So I know that you don't want to brag about yourself, but I would love to be here and brag about you, and thank you for all you have done for us and for making this great communication between AES and the Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Nune. Thank you for being an incredible student trustee as well. And of course, we couldn't do this without our board. Our board is incredible, and we've worked so well together. So to everyone, it's been a great experience. And you've been a perfect bridge to the Board of Trustees and giving our voice and our input as well. So thank you.
President Verdian will like to make some remarks.
Well, I would like to thank President Julia Russo and her board for all the very good work that you're doing at the college. And I do appreciate the fact that we have an open line of communication. Both you and Trustee Garipian meet with me on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
And I do enjoy the conversation that we have and how you keep me appraised of everything that is going on in the student world. And I also enjoy seeing all of you outside almost all the time, right? You're giving away good stuff, goodies to students and faculty and staff, and it's always a pleasure to see all of you. And thank you again for your contribution to promote student success at Pasadena City College. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, as final comments, Trustee Osterline stole my thunder again. But as the presiding officer, I will exercise my prerogative to emphasize what he mentioned about participation in not just this meeting, but in any meeting, every meeting of the board, any of our committees. They're all public meetings, and as you observe at the beginning of every single meeting, there is public comment for items that are not on the agenda, but which relate to the college. We welcome every one of you to come and participate and tell us what we are doing right, what we're doing wrong, what you think ought to be changed, and everything else, anything else, any observations that have to do with the college, you and your friends. It's extremely helpful with Julie and Nunye as now student trustee and the president, given their background, but we also want to hear from all the students. And so any board meeting, you can come at the beginning and talk about any subject, and during every meeting, before we consider every item for action, there is a public comment time, and you can talk about specific items that are on the agenda. So I urge you to take a look at the agenda. I mean, it's not that boring. And
Yes, it is.
Speak for yourself.
Speak for yourself.
Yes, it is.
And do participate, encourage your friends too. That's how we understand and find out what's going on.
Right.
And inform our decisions as policymakers, as Board of Trustees. So thank you very much.
Right, absolutely. Thank
And
you.
we've still got some more action items here. Okay, the next item on the agenda, action items recommended for approval. Item 1, board policies. We have 4 board policies that are recommended for approval. They involve integrated planning, institutional effectiveness, shower facilities for homeless students, and standards of student conduct. Now, this is the appropriate time for anybody who wants to speak about this action item, anything relating to this action item. Do we have any speaker cards, Trustee Osterling?
I don't have any speaker cards.
It's not too late to
Yeah.
step up and make
That's what I was
public
going to say,
comment.
especially since this is a joint meeting. If the students have comments on any of these policies, now would be the time to speak up.
Hearing none.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I would like to make a comment,
Oh.
just briefly. So in terms of that, we actually didn't have student representation that committee meeting. This is for the education policy, correct? The disciplinary policy, correct? Yes, so we didn't have.
Excuse me, this is standards of student conduct.
Right, yes.
5500.
Yes,
Okay.
so we wouldn't be in a position at this point to comment on that, but we didn't have representation there, so that the board is aware.
Okay, now, okay, thank you. We
Yes.
have a motion. Trustee Fellow, you made a motion? Was there a second?
Second.
Okay, second, is there any discussion? I saw a light from trustee Waugh.
Yeah, so I sit on the Board Policy Subcommittee, and yeah, unfortunately, not all of our representation was there. I was also concerned about the extensive language under the student conduct, and so the questions I asked were, normally the board policies are much more general and brief, and then the details are handled through an administrative policy. Apparently, this came back from Dr. Verdian's staff that it is required, I guess, through that this particular policy list everything that's in the ed code. And so one of the requests I had was to verify that that was absolutely true, that it had to be listed exactly this way, and if it was required to be listed as verbatim in the ed code, that we were guaranteed that the ed code language not be changed and that what is directly inserted in the policy if that was the legal requirement. And that was the feedback that we got. So while this is much more detailed and extensive than we normally would have had, apparently it's the policy or it's the requirement from the, I don't know, Chancellor's office.
We've been told that it has to be listed like that from the Chancellor's office and the CCLC also.
Trustee Martin?
Yeah, I had some similar questions and was given the same answer. But my question now then is, what's the timing on approving this policy? Because if we are not desperate to approve this policy tonight and could pull this one particular policy to give the students another chance to review it, they may have other suggestions, they may have things they want to add. Obviously, if this is coming from the state, we can't subtract, but they may have things they want to add. And if nothing else, I found just reading the policy and going through the review of it to be quite informative. And if anyone ought to be informed of it, it would be the students and especially their leadership. So if possible, in timing, I would suggest we pull this, give you a chance to review it and see if there's any tweaks you'd suggest, and then bring it back in another meeting. But I don't know the sensitivity here.
We can pull this one policy and bring it back, not at the next meeting, so that the students may have time to review it and provide their feedback to us, and we'll bring it back at the May meeting.
I would second that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll make
so
that
I
a
would-
friendly, I don't know how, if that's a friendly amendment to pull something, but to the motion, if we could pull the number on 5,500 on standards of student conduct.
Okay, I would withdraw my second then on 5,500, and if the students want additional time to review this.
Would that help you?
Well, I know student trustee Nune has read it. I would like to let her comment just to give her opinion on it, so she's more well-versed in it, I would just say.
Okay. So I am also part of the subcommittee, but I was not able to attend that meeting. So I did read it on my own, but I wasn't at the subcommittee meeting.
So would you like us to pull this so the students can have time to look at it?
In all honesty, I feel that since it is a requirement, there isn't much leeway on changing it one way or other. So I would feel comfortable passing it tonight if
Well-
the associated students are in agreement.
Well, it is possible to add things, and getting the input from the students would be helpful. Crystal?
Thank you, Board. I just wanted to mention, I was just in consultation with Dean Cobb, and new language has just recently come from the league that we do need to include in this. So we would be happy to pull it and bring it back with the additional language.
There we go. Perfect.
It will become longer now.
Yes, it will become longer now.
Crystal's
I have
always
a-
the magician in the room, you know?
I have an additional question. The very end of the draft that we have in our agenda says date adopted November 19th, 2003, and back up toward the beginning, there's just a very minor sort of strikeouts or red line, if you will. So it's surprising to me that in 14 years, there isn't something that's happened in the ed code or whatever that would cause, so I'm perfectly happy if this is put off and more information is incorporated. And we have a friendly amendment And that's
And a
been
second.
accepted by the maker of the motion. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, advisory vote?
Aye.
Trustees? Good.
Sorry about that.
The,
Gotta watch what button I'm pushing.
the motion, which covers 4 of the board policy changes, passes 6-0 with 1 absent, with the student trustee voting yes. Item number 2, I2, approval of addition to the credit curriculum.
We are asking the board to approve, Dr. Judy, that this is the last of the Associate of Science transfer degree for us in our list of degrees that need to be approved, the AST degree for transfer in film, television, and electronic media.
This associate degree for transfer actually is what Dr. Verdian is referring to, is that because of both 440 and 1440, as well as some aspects of ed code, community colleges are required to have associate degrees for transfer that have the same top code as any local degrees that they have. And so with this, once this is approved by the board, and if so desired, it will be submitted to the state for approval. And once it's approved by the state, Pasadena City College will be in compliance with those regulations. It won't be our last associate degree for transfer. There are other associate degrees for transfer that are in progress, but currently none of those are required by the state to have, but any additional associate degrees for transfer that we add will benefit our students because it will allow them basically the opportunity to earn those degrees here at the college and then move on to the Cal States to earn bachelors in those areas. And there are more in line for that, so there will be more to come. But this one is the last one that we are currently required by the state to have.
Do I hear a motion?
Can I just make a comment? For my own education, I just was wondering, this is an associate in science, and I was just wondering why it's not an associate in arts as most of the BAs are.
Well, part of that's a good question. Part of that, though, has to do with the way we do degrees here at Pasadena City College, and so in the career technical education areas, our current policy is that that degrees in the career technical education will be Associate of Science degrees as opposed to AAs. And then there are obviously the various requirements that come down for the associate degrees, and so the template for the ADTs, or Associate Degrees for Transfer, also basically drive that in these areas, career technical education, they will be AS degrees as opposed to AA degrees.
Thank you.
Do I hear a motion? Oh, we don't have a motion yet.
Yeah, we need to have a motion and a second before
Move approval.
discussion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion.
Thank you.
Trustee Hill?
Yes. Since I'm very keen on film, television, and electronic media, I wondered if I could vote twice for this.
Do you have a
Wait till you hear my
proxy from
comment.
Trustee Brown?
Any other comments? I have I'm going to take this opportunity. We're not running late here tonight, but this won't be long. When I read this, and particularly when I looked at the template on the media that describes the coursework and all this stuff, I could not help but be reminded of a classmate of mine, same class at John Muir High School, which I attended before coming here. And there was a guy there who was well known throughout the campus as the audio-visual nerd, geek, whatever you want to call him. And when we had assemblies and we had movies, like film, some of you are not familiar with film, but that's how people used to communicate and all that stuff. He could run the projectors, he could run that, he could do the sound equipment and all this. He graduated from Muir. He came here, and I don't know if he actually graduated, but his name is Dennis Murin. He has a star on the Hollywood Boulevard Walk of Fame. And if you're ever in a conversation with somebody talking about fellow alumni of this college and what they have accomplished in their field, Dennis Murin has 9 Academy Awards in special effects. That's why he's got a star on Hollywood Boulevard. So you've got a fellow alumni at this college who has 9 Academy Awards, and I don't know anybody who's got that many. But yeah, he's really a great guy, and you should have been to our last class reunion when he did a presentation. It's great. So we got a wonderful program in this. The sky's the limit. Any other comments? Student trustee, advisory vote.
Aye.
Trustees. Passes 6-0 with 1 absent, and student trustee voting in favor. Thank you. Approval of new Fund 69 Internal Services Fund, PERS STIRS Retiree Benefit Fund. President Verdian, do you have?
We're asking the board to approve the creation of this new Fund 69 that will allow us to set aside funds for Internal Services Fund, for PERS and STIRS Retiree Benefit.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion? I saw Trustee Martin going for the button first. You want to speak? You don't?
No.
Okay. Oh.
I'm getting ready to vote.
Okay, Trustee Osterling.
Well, I'm going to commend Trustee Martin for being the person that has been lobbying that we do this, and I'm glad to see Superintendent Verdian that we're finally putting this on the agenda.
Trustee Wah.
No,
Oh,
I
oh,
was
I
just
thought
going to
you-
get ready to
okay,
vote.
you
I'm
were gonna
sitting
go to
here
vote,
with
too.
Trustee Martin, ready to push the button.
Is there any further discussion?
Itchy fingers.
Advisory vote.
Aye.
Trustees. Item passes 6-0 with 1 absent, and the advisory vote in favor. Thank you. Information items, Superintendent President's report.
Well, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to present this report. Well, as you know, last Wednesday, we hosted 2 major events on campus that showcased the many ways PCC is serving our community. We opened with a legislative breakfast, bringing representatives of our region's elected officials, from U.S. representatives and senators to city council members, school boards, state elected officials, and all other municipalities around here. We were glad to share our priorities with this esteemed group. Then later on, we welcomed the entire campus to a celebration of the PCC Promise, a new initiative that will guarantee every eligible high school graduate from our district a year of tuition-free education at PCC. We have already received an overwhelmingly positive response from the community regarding this new program, and we're looking forward to having it in place this fall. And I would also like here to thank our foundation for working very hard to raise the funds to make this a possibility. I would also like to extend my public thanks to Dr. Jack Scott, who gave eloquent remarks that morning on the potential of the PCC Promise to serve the students of our region and truly transform our community. Dr. Scott is a longtime friend of PCC, and as you all know, he was also a superintendent president of this district. Last week, I also had an opportunity to have a very productive meeting with the superintendent of the El Monte City School District, Dr. Maribel Garcia, and we discussed issues the district is facing and the various programs that PCC has to offer its students. We look forward to deepening this relationship in the time to come. And as you all know, the second board meeting of the Pasadena Area Community College District will take place on May 17, and this meeting will be held at our Rosemead Center. We will prepare presentations on 2 or 3 special topics of interest to the residents of that area of our district, and we are working currently with the superintendents of the school districts in that area and the elected officials of the city councils to be present at that specific board meeting. I am pleased to welcome back 3 of our trustees and Ms. Thompson, who attended the governance, the ACCT Governance Leadership Institute, which took place in Honolulu. And I'm sure that during the course of this year, they are going to be sharing with us all the lessons that they learned from that Leadership Institute. And we'll be looking forward to implementing some of them. I would also like to recognize Trustee Wah for her attendance at the Honors Transfer Council of California's Research Conference at UC Irvine last weekend. I arrived there just after you left, but we were very well represented there. Dr. Juni was there, and also Derek Milne, our director of the honors program, was there, and our students did exceedingly well, taking away one of the 2 top awards given on that day. Tomorrow morning, I will be going to the Asian Pacific Americans in Higher Education Conference in Oakland. Our very own Trustee Wah was on a panel today, but she couldn't make it because she has to be at the board meeting here. And I will be back late on Friday evening. And this concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Announcements by shared governance representatives and the Board of Trustees. And we're a little bit, well, Julie, you've already made some comments. Is there anything you would like to add?
There was one last thing that I wanted to extend to each of you. You each should have received a pamphlet, I'm hoping. Yes, excellent. So our Vice President for Public Relations, Sam Solomon, actually pulled this together for us, and I really hope you guys like this. So we have a little bit about each of us. We have a picture of all of us in our positions, and then just a collection of photographs from our entire year together. So I hope you guys will enjoy that. Thank you. That's all I'd like to share.
Thank you. Well, Dr. Foster, you're the next and last, I guess.
I really don't have anything to report, but I do want to just comment on the faculty hiring process that's going on right now. I have heard nothing from most, if not all, the committees. The only problems are happening with the social sciences at the moment. Otherwise, no other faculty have alerted me to any problems. I respect all of the administrators involved. All of my dealings with Dr. Norman have been professional. And she seems to be very knowledgeable about all of the rules. So I just wanted to make that statement.
Thank you very much. Trustees, student trustee?
I want to once again thank associated students for coming out here tonight. And in addition, a few members and I attended the legislative breakfast and the announcement afterwards. I think I speak for all of AS when I say we're very excited to see the PCC Promise program start being implemented in the district. And yeah, good things ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Trustee Hilsman?
No report.
Trustee Fellow?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention with Dr. Verdian that the 3 of us were at a conference, and it was interesting for me to meet trustees from Guam, the Marshall Islands, and the Navajo Nation. And there's a lot of problems with some of these colleges. Poverty is one of them, not enough money, particularly in the Marshall Islands. I talked to the president for a great deal of time. And the students are so spread out, they don't know how to teach them, and they're looking mostly at online education, and I hope to help them with that. But it was a very interesting conference. It's just too bad we were inside for 9 hours a day. Couldn't even see the city.
Trustee Osterling?
Yes, it was torture. I want to echo Trustee Fellow's comments, and the GLI was very information-packed. And one thing that strikes me when I attend the national conferences versus state of California is how fortunate the community college students are here in California in terms of the student tuition here is much less than in many other states. And now with the additional college promise that we're offering at PCC, it will help even more to make our community college affordable for our students. And Trustee Fellow was very well prepared for this meeting with all kinds of notes. I'm going to yield the floor and let you make more comments if you'd like on the GLI, but I thought it was excellent.
I'll let you talk first. We've been usurping all your comments.
Let's have Mr. Martin, Trustee Martin first.
Well, I was going to report that I have no report, which proves I'm not an old windbag. Just old.
Trustee Wah, I know you're neither a windbag or old, but so I invite you to make comments.
Thank you. So I do want to echo Dr. Verdian's congratulations to our students. The honors conference was just excellent, and actually Dr. Milne was the co-chair. So that was a great honor for PCC, and we were very well represented. I have a number of pictures I'll have to forward you. I put some on Facebook. But the College Promise was very, very well received, and I'm proud to say almost the total board of San Marino was there, and so everyone is very excited about this, and I've heard from the community. I also want to thank Dr. Verdian and PCC for supporting the International Leadership Foundation lunch. We had 3 Pasadena City College students who participated in the leadership training, and they were really enthusiastic. They were invited to be speakers at the luncheon, and so all of the community leaders got to hear about their training. And I also want to thank Dr. Arnwine for inviting us to In the Heights, so I am really looking forward to that.
Thank you. I just make one general comment on the meeting over there with ACCT. It was extremely informative. Part of it involved some breakout sessions, and I know Trustee Fellow, you went to one that focused on psychological...
Mental health. Yeah.
Right, mental health. I can't remember which one you went to, Dr. Osterling. Okay, I'll get back. Okay, breakout. I went to breakout section on food insecurity and homelessness. And of course, as we were having this discussion, it was probably about 2 hours. Came down again and again, focusing on the cost of education. And once again, I was reminded of what a good deal we've got here in California and what an incredible commitment the state of California and the people, the voters here have made to making community college as affordable as possible. But we have community colleges around the country that start at $150 a unit, $175 a unit, $125 a unit. I ask all these people when they tell me how much the tuition is per unit, and I ask them, would you have any sort of a waiver? And they all say no. So not only do we have probably the best tuition fee schedule in the country, the state has also made this incredible gesture to make BOG waivers available, which is enjoyed by a large majority of our students. So, once again, I'm reminded of that. Any other comments?
Our breakout group was return on investment, and that is focusing on making sure that our students that graduate from community college, whether they go out into the workforce or on to a 4-year degree, that we're ultimately preparing them to go out and pursue their passion, but also earn a livable wage as they do that.
I just wanted to mention, I also came away very proud of our foundation. We're very much advanced. We had Strata come in, which is a national firm that talks to community colleges about fundraising, and we are so advanced that Bobby could have come over and delivered what needs to be done. And
it made them envious.
She's outstanding, and our foundation is outstanding.
Trustee Hilsman.
Yeah, just quickly to echo what Trustee Fellow said, that the foundation, as a liaison to the foundation, I have been so impressed by the leadership there and what Bobby's doing and the way they've organized the capital campaign. I've learned a lot about fundraising, and the way we're going about it is really professional. But what I had neglected to mention, too, was that I was at the legislative breakfast and the follow-on for the College Promise, and I thought the college did a terrific job putting that on. Alex Bucklehyde and his team was really, and we had a great attendance. We had representatives, as the President Superintendent said, we had representatives from all the major elected officials. For the students, for associate students, there's a packed legislative schedule in Sacramento now, as well as in Washington to some degree. So if you're ever interested in getting involved in some of the legislation that's going to really impact community colleges and PCC, there's a lot to talk about and a lot to work on. So thank you.
You've got a comment over here.
Trustee Wong.
I apologize. I forgot to mention that I attended the Business Information Technology Committee meeting that includes the community input on, and they had redone several of their business information technology certificates. One of the things that was really interesting, and Dean Safoni pointed out that they are now attaching the employment outcomes to all of their certificates. I was wondering, do we also attach the employment outcomes for like these ADTs, the associate degree transfers?
We do post the gainful employment data, but I'm not sure whether we add the employment data for the associate degrees for transfer. I don't think we do that, right?
Not currently. But in regard to what's happening with the Strong Workforce Program, there will be more and more of that, especially attached, obviously, to anything in the career technical education. And so, no, it's not being attached right now, but it will be obviously be part of anything that has to do with strong workforce development as we move forward in the future.
So, and I don't know if I mentioned it before, but at the last Strong Workforce meeting, the Cal State system made a presentation, and they use a new dashboard which tracks their students all the way to their gainful employment for the next 3 years after they leave college. And so it's one of the things I had mentioned to Vice Chancellor Tonquinlivan, that we be great to link that information with what we're doing on our launch board. So, and I think this is good information for all of us as trustees as we approve courses and degrees, and we know what the outcome is for for our students, and good for the students to know that too.
Next item on the agenda is proposed future board business meeting dates. Everybody should have that in their agenda package. Dr. Verdian, do you have any remarks on that?
No. So for the dates as they are, they all stand.
Okay. Proposed future agenda items. Does anybody have any items that they would like considered for inclusion on a future agenda?
If I may say something?
Yes, Dr. Verdian.
At the next meeting, we will have a brief report on our technology plan. And as you can see on the list that we've given you here, there is a list of all the topics that we will be bringing to the board with their scheduled dates.
Thank you. That's very helpful. No further announcements or comments. This meeting is closed. Adjourned.